I want to get something out of the way, and that is any concerns or questions you have about how to vote, because maybe hypothetically someday long ago it was difficult to get that information. Maybe no longer. We've got resources for you that will give you literally everything you need to know to register to vote, to check your voter registration. If you need to request an absentee ballot, which you should definitely do if you can, set up reminders for all of this. One place where you can do all of those things I just said is at tyt.com/vote. You can go there. You're gonna be able to get all of this stuff. And after you're done checking all of your information, requesting a ballot, you can then share it on social media sites to make sure that everyone that follows you gets that information as well. That is tyt.com/vote. You can see there all of that information, setting up automatic reminders for all this. It could not be any simpler, but you know what? Maybe you don't like that. You can go to vote.org then. That's got everything you need to know about registering, vote by mail, polling place locators, exactly where you need to go to. If you want to not just register and vote and do all of that, but also work the polls on election day, which you definitely should if you can and be safe about it. You can find that out at vote.org as well. You can fill out your 2020 census as well. That's kind of important too. Voting and the census are two things they're trying to get you to not be involved in. And so all of that is there. And this is also tailored specifically to your states. Obviously, voter regulations and laws they're different, by state. But you can get that stuff at these websites, all of that information. You can also go, by the way, to vote.org/COVID-19. And that is gonna give you information for how the pandemic has affected voter laws and regulations in every single part of the country. So all of that information is there. If for some reason you don't like going to websites and reading, I heard Stephen Colbert is making an individual video for each state explaining when the deadlines are and all of that. There could not be more resources, and any one of these is gonna give you everything you need to get the job done and make sure that your vote is counted on election day.
Yeah, I wanted to pick up on something one of you said, which is the Republicans vote. So let me give you a stunning fact about the 2016 election. White evangelical voters voted at an 85% clip. I've never heard of a number that high. And 81% of them voted for Donald Trump. That is, of all the millions of reasons why Hillary Clinton lost and Donald Trump won, I would say that was number one. If 84% of white evangelicals showed up, Hillary Clinton would have been president. But they show up at record numbers. Why? Because they know there's power in it. Now, if our side is going to be suckers and let them take all of the votes and let them take all those elections because they bothered to show up and we didn't, well, then maybe we do deserve our fate. But understand that the other side doesn't think that voting doesn't matter. They all know that it matters. And it matters a lot. And that's how they've seized power. Because the reality is there's far more Democrats and Democrat leaning voters in this country than Republican voters, a lot more. And if the same percentage of Democrats showed up to vote as Republicans, we would hold all the power. And all of the horrible abuses you've seen in the last 4 years, none of it would be an issue. It's not to say that the current system is great or that the establishment Democrats are wonderful. No, we would have to fight them. And you know how you fight them? By voting in primaries. If progressives showed up in primaries at the same rate as corporate Democratic voters do, or television viewing Democratic voters do, then we'd rout them. So it really is, in a sense, as easy and simple as voting. Now, I know why people don't, because it feels like no matter what we do, we get the same result. For until Trump, corporate Republicans, corporate Democrats, and the same damn result. So in a lot of ways, it is the fault of the establishment Democrats, in my opinion, that they made our side so cynical and never delivered results for us that it winds up depressing our vote. And every time we ask them to, for God's sake, will you actually pass a bill? Will you do something progressive that excites your own side so they show up to vote? We get a wall of no. But step one is defeat the fascists, because their side is gonna show up in record numbers. There's no question. So we can't fight against the establishment Democrats if there is no democracy in the first place. So we got to go and make sure that we vote in this election. And then step 2 is, for God's sake, 2022 primaries. Step 3 is the 2024 primary for president. And under no circumstances will we listen to the media telling us, in that case, don't vote. Don't vote in the primary, just let Joe Biden or Kamala Harris have it. No, this is the only show that arguably is the one that's consistent. We tell you to vote in all of those elections.
I just wanted to echo what Cenk said regarding marginalized people of color who do feel like it is hopeless and they feel helpless, that no matter who is in office, it doesn't matter because we get a poor share of the deal. We're not fighting for those issues right now. We're fighting for our democracy. Your president of this not United States declared New York, Seattle, and what is it? Seattle and what else?
Portland
anarchist states. When we've been talking a lot about martial law, even though Marco Rubio doesn't know how to spell Marshall. We've been talking about a lot of these issues that are dealing with our current state, but our freedom. Like my stepdad is from Cuba, and a lot of the things that we've been seeing are just very reminiscent of what is happening in those countries where they have an authoritarian state. And so we're talking about holding on to our democracy, and we can deal with all that other stuff later because historically, either party hasn't been great to us, but we're not fighting for that right now. Do you see these people who go against Donald Trump, but they will support him because they want to maintain their agenda? They're trying to get that Supreme Court justice in there. Mitt Romney just turned, one day he's walking with Black Lives Matter, the next day he's endorsing or he's supporting Donald Trump in his craziness because they want to maintain power. And to them, maintaining power is more important than your rights.
Yeah.
So we gotta show up, even if we feel like nobody does it for us. And when we show up in our numbers, and the numbers that we have, then we hold them accountable. But we cannot afford to sit this one out right now.
100%, couldn't agree more. I know there are some people, including people in Democratic leadership, that want you to believe that the sum total of all of your political activity should be voting every 2 years, probably every 4 years. Nancy Pelosi, asked about Trump taking over RBG's seat, says, well, then you should go vote. And there will be consequences in future elections. That's not the entirety of your activity, your activism, your involvement. It should be, this is one thing that you do, but it is incredibly valuable. As Ida said, it has to be valuable for them to want to steal it so badly. And so you cannot surrender willingly that portion of your political power. And I agree, like having Biden is not going to be some sort of fantasy land, some sort of utopia. If you're a strong progressive, it might still seem like hell, but even hell has levels.
Yes.
And as Ida said, there are things that cannot be accepted.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. I really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.